Namaskar. We are today having a very special interview, a very special person with us who has contributed immensely in the field of earth science, in the field of geology, in creating knowledge, as well as spreading out this knowledge to greater masses through all her capacity. We have amongst us Professor Hema Achyutan from Anna University, Chennai. Professor Hema Achyutan, presently a emeritus professor at Anna University, and she has a research and teaching career spanning more than 3 decades, serving this field of geology through her life. She has published more than 250 research publications in peer-reviewed national and international journals, and she has guided 27 PhD students, including students from foreign universities. A distinguished personality in the field of geosciences, worked all over her life and still contributing immensely in this field. To her academic accolades, she is a Fulbright Fellow. She has a fellowship of Hamid Cambridge Fellowship, La Pierre Simon Climate Change Fellow of CNRS France. She has been awarded Woman Scientist of JGSI and R. Vaidyanathan Award of JGSI Bangalore. She has been a senior as well as a junior associate of ICTP. Plus 2 times she has been a research associate of University of Arizona Department of Geology. With her academic excellence and her uh, lifelong service, she is present today in Goa for Geosphere, that is the annual geology meet of industry, academy and students, which is organized by the Geological Society of Goa in association of Jnana Prasarak Mandal's College and Research Center, Asagaon. So with great honor, uh, I welcome Professor Hema in this interview. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your very kind words. I'm very happy to be here, and it was very um, exciting to talk to the students in the morning regarding the monsoons and how we can reconstruct past monsoons using lake sediments or wetland sediments. And I'm working on those nowadays, so I thought that would be interesting for the students. Thank you for inviting me
Yeah.
for this
Ma'am,
program.
it will be a good experience. It will be a great learning experience if some of the insights that you have shared with the audience could go on record through this interview. So,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
see, geology is not considered as a common path by anybody for pursuing career. And back in those times, how you happened to walk through this particular path and choose geology as your career, and what challenges you faced in pursuing this career.
Thank you for asking me this very important question. Um, I used to play badminton very well, and I captained Pune University for 5 years. And I also used to play table tennis very well. And I had an uncle, Dr. T.K. Gopal Swami, and when I was trying to select a subject where I can take up for studies, I went to him and asked him, what should I do? And I was a serious student, not that I was just playing. I was also a serious student, good in studies. So he said that why don't you take geology, because the classes get over by 11:30, 12. By 1:30 you're back home, and then evening you can play and night you can study. So
Yeah.
he said that would be helpful, and I was also playing uh, um, going to Vanita Samaj Punjab Association in Bombay, and participating in competitive badminton. So I wanted a subject where I can study and
And play.
also play, and that's how I took geology. And I got good marks, and then went on to do my MSc, And then I went on to do my PhD in Deccan College, Pune, and there I came under the uh, um, guidance of Dr. Rajaguruji, S.N.
Huh.
Rajaguruji, who was uh, working in an archaeology department and using geological application, geological methods
Hmm.
to understand an archaeological site. So I thought that was very interesting because we are bringing two new thinking, new two subjects together,
Archaeology and
and
geology.
geology, and seeing the application of geology to understand archaeological sites. So I thought that would be a good contribution, and so I did my PhD with him in
Hmm.
Rajasthan, trying to understand deserts, the Thar Desert particularly, and I excavated along with the Deccan College group for my PhD, and very interesting site called the 16-hour dune, and where we got archaeological material in stratigraphic context, and I was the first
Hmm.
person to date that site using different methods, and now the dates go up to 200,000 years, and that also tells that desertification started in that region around 200,000 years from
Good.
today. So, uh, what was the important contribution in that study was whether we have the evidence of archaeology in the form of stone tools, but it was also important to know
Hmm.
whether the soil formation within the dune had any other evidence
Yes.
apart from soil formation, the impact of
Good.
monsoon
Yeah.
in that region, because the western Rajasthan receives the
Least.
southwest monsoon, but then it tapers more and more towards the west. So that was a big contribution at
So,
that time.
ma'am has mentioned about her PhD research, which she has conducted in that area. But to audience, I would like to specially mention that not only Rajasthan or arid region of Rajasthan, ma'am has her contribution, scientific contribution from this arid region of Rajasthan to the valleys of Kashmir, even into the
Kenya,
regions of Kenya and
Kenya.
Africa. And ma'am, we see that your research spans across the continents.
Yes.
Then what was your reasons for selecting this particular topic, which
Yeah.
spans the continents and tries to tell us about the geological past the entire Earth has gone through?
Yeah, it's now very well established that desertification is between few latitudes, the mid
Huh.
latitudes, the Saharan, and then it moves through Arabia, and then it goes right passing through
So
the Thar
across the
Desert.
continents, we
Yeah,
see only
yeah,
in the mid latitude
mid
the presence
latitude.
of
Yeah, the sand
deserts,
dunes, the
sand
sand dunes.
dunes.
But there are also other type of deserts like the rocky deserts, the cold deserts
Hmm.
like Antarctica in the North Pole and the South Pole, or the Arctic Circle in the North Pole. But the sand dunes, particularly, they are in the mid latitudinal region.
Hmm.
Now, the important point is that if you have more rain, then the deserts shrink. The margins of the desert will shrink because it will become more greener and greener, and so the desertification process will shrink. Now, if it is getting more and more arid, then the desert margins will enlarge, and then it will have its own signatures. So, this was important to understand how the deserts have behaved over a period of time. Now, one important contribution came from the Saharan desert. They found the evidence of human being, the Homo sapiens, much
Hmm.
earlier,
Huh.
dating to 2.8 million years. Then the human evolution, human skeletons coming from Chad, Lake Chad, then Lake
So,
Turkana.
in your study, did you see any relation with the migration of human
Oh,
species
yes, that's what.
along the
Yes. So
desertification?
yes, yes. So one point that came to our mind, one scientific question that came to our mind is that did man, uh, like you and me, or even before us, did they migrate from one continent to the other, or did we all get evolved in all the
Hmm.
continents at the same
Same
time?
time.
So, but now it's proved beyond doubt that the human beings like you and me, we all evolved from Africa, and we all migrated through different directions at different times, and it has taken people to reach different places at different. For example, people moved through Arabia, the Levant in Israel.
Mm.
People moved through Saudi Arabia, both through the coastal and through the interior of the landscape. Moved to the lower portions of Pakistan, and then the Shivaliks, the middle Shivalik period, or even the late Shivalik period, and then came into Rajasthan through the Thar Desert. So the desert need not be seen as a barrier. It's like
Yeah.
it's a difficult time and
Agree.
man cannot migrate. But then it is during the in a big long period of aridification or aridity or
Mm.
desertification processes, there have been very small interludes of intense wetter conditions. So the
Yeah.
man must have moved from during those shorter and wetter conditions into this part of the continent.
So the weather conditions help the men to
Man to
move
move,
and look
yes.
for a favorable climatic places or favorable climatic regimes as to
Yes,
settle.
yes, yes, and settle with his community or family, hunt the
Yeah.
species around, and also they should have been more worried about the progeny and
Yeah.
and also their safety of the community, and then settling somewhere, which came
Hmm.
much later,
See,
much later.
many a times we tend to look at our disciplines as compartmentalized in a compartmentalized manner.
Yes.
But when we look at your research and your work, we see that you have been systematically binding anthropogenic evolution along with geosciences. So,
Yes.
what was the motivation to look into such aspects
Yeah.
and
So
come out with some fruitful answers?
yes, I have been taught by my guide. Number one is that never ask big questions.
Mhm.
Ask simple questions like why, why do you see this here? What does it represent? Those
Yeah.
very simple
So,
questions, and seek answers in a proper logical way. Asking big questions, you are lost in those big questions. So you need to ask simple
okay.
questions and seek answers in a very logical way. Adapt yourself to the latest technique
Mhm.
and use high resolution methodology to get good data, so that your science is more robust and it's not having too many holes or
Yeah.
gaps which you need to fill in. So one such work, apart from desertification, was the lakes.
Mm.
Now most of my students, they work on lakes and they also work on soils, because everything can become
Yeah.
eventually into a soil, whether it's a marine sandstone or a coral reef. It can get weathered and form
Lacustrines.
yeah, any kind of soil material. Loess, which is an airborne silt, which is in Kashmir, and it is also a good indicator of wind-blown silt. It becomes a soil over a period of time. And when you have soil, they are all indicators of some wetter condition that prevailed for the soil formation.
Uh,
So,
even for a small period of time,
very
their
small period of
exposure
time. Yeah, it
can
depends. It
uh,
depends. Even if a small period of time could be sufficient to form a
layer of soil.
thin layer of soil. Yes. So this was one, and then we also looked up at lakes, particularly the lakes, because the margins of the lake, just like you have the desert, when you have more water coming from the catchment area into
Yeah.
the lake, the margins
Increase.
spread, and
Uh,
they become extent. They extend their margins. But then when there is a drier condition, the margins collapse. They become more and more
narrower and
narrow,
confined.
confined, and then man starts occupying those margins
Yeah.
which have gone down. So in one of the lake in Kukal and Pukod in Kerala, this is what we found, that when the margins were dwindling, man started occupying those margins because water was readily
Mhm.
available and he could cultivate and live
Now,
on those
since
margins.
this topic of lakes have come and you have been researching and working scientifically on this aspect, A very specific question related to Goa comes to my mind now. What is happening? That Goa is known for a lot of lakes. This place is known for a lot many
Wetlands.
wetlands. So considering this situation with the actual example, can you tell us some stories about lakes, that how it has affected the human life,
Oh
or
yeah.
vice versa, where the anthropogenic activities have hampered the
Yes.
lake ecosystem?
Yes. I can tell you about the deluge that we experienced in Chennai in 2015. It was pouring
Mm.
rain for several days, and all the low-lying area around Chennai, which used to be a place of small lakes, coastal lakes, small coastal
Mm.
lakes, got inundated, totally inundated, because human beings had already created societies, huge
Mm.
buildings in a low-lying area. So all their houses and all got flooded, and many
Mm.
people died because the electricity was on or off, and then people died because of the shock. Uh, Many things happened. It happened to people. Many people died, and therefore the low-lying lakes should
Mm.
not be occupied by man. It should be avoided. There should be a rule, a policy that low-lying area, one which were once a
Yeah.
paleo lake, should not be occupied by man
So
for
the
reclamation. For
entire
reclamation,
catchment of the
yeah,
lake
yeah,
should be preserved, should be
preserve,
kept free from
free
all.
from all these interaction. I saw even here in Goa on the gravel bed,
uh,
people have constructed double-storied building and
buildings.
all, and that is going to collapse definitely because in a very soft sediment you cannot have a very strong foundation.
Correct.
The
Yeah,
soft
yeah.
sediment is always going to subduct. It is going to subside, not even subduct,
Subside.
subside, and therefore it will pull down the entire construction in some form or the other, depending on its weight. So
So,
these are all dangerous situations which you should avoid.
now, is there any difference or sensitivity with the uh, inland lakes or the lakes which are formed because of the coastal activities? Is there some sensitivity different, or
Yes, definitely there is a big sensitivity. The coastal lakes, when they are when they are connected to the tidal waves,
yes?
they become more saline
Huh.
for a brief period of time during the day because the tides come and go 3, 4 times, and so the salinity index is also
Mm.
increasing within that water.
Mm.
And so the biota that you get there,
Huh.
they are responding to the salinity index, but whereas in the inland there will be more fresh water.
Correct. Yes.
Now, but one important point is this, that all individual lakes will behave according to their hydrogeology of their area, hydrodynamic of that area, and the catchment and response of the lake to the catchment. See, all the water will not go immediately into the center of the lake,
Right.
and all the sediments will also
Mm.
not go into the center of the lake. So it's only the margins that are very, very important, which play a very dynamic role. And therefore, the chemistry of the lake, water chemistry of the lake, whether it's a saline
Mm.
or a coastal lake or a high glaciated lake, what you see in Ladakh or in
In
Kashmir
Kashmir.
Valley, or the high elevated lakes in Ooty, or the coastal lakes
Mm.
that you're seeing in Goa, they all will definitely have one common factor in that we are studying is the southwest monsoon.
Southwest monsoon. Right.
Southwest monsoon. Now, the southwest monsoon is a wind, is a kind of a trade wind,
Yes.
and it starts from the Latin American Gulf
Mm.
of Brazil and Chile, Colombia. It starts
Mm.
from there. The El Nino, La Nina plays an important role. The ITCZ, the Equine
Mm.
transport, all these play an important role in bringing the cloud-bearing water-bearing clouds and hit the Kerala coast in the first and the last week of May, and then
Yeah.
it moves northeast
Reaches to our place,
and place
Goa,
Goa
and goes
in
beyond.
the first week of June, and then by 6th of June it hits Bombay and Pune, and then it spreads all over. Of course, it spreads even before that to the different parts of the country, but it tapers more and more towards the northwest and west. And here it tapers more towards the Indonesian south of Indonesia and north of Australia.
So, in
So
general, can we say that the health of a lake can actually tell us about the health of our ecosystem or health of
definitely,
the climate?
yes, definitely, it will tell the health of the lake and the health of the society per se, because human beings all need water, and we need an ambient chemical composition of water. We cannot drink as too saline or too brackish water, and health is a big thing. Health is a big issue, so we have to be very careful in storing water and purifying water. So that's very important.
So,
I want to add one point
yeah.
here is that in Kashmir lakes earlier they were thinking that the southwest monsoon is penetrating into the lake,
Yeah.
by penetrating into Srinagar Valley, etc. But now we find more and more evidence that the Kashmir Valley, particularly, it receives dominantly the westerlies
Okay.
and its own valley water because of its high evaporation conditions. And the southwest monsoon finds it very difficult to penetrate into the Srinagar Valley.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you are studying lakes or any geomorphological unit, sand dunes, soil, lakes, anything for that matter, you have to first understand in what geographical context it is,
Okay.
what is it receiving in the form of rain, and how much it is receiving, and what is the atmospheric circulation and pattern in that area.
Yeah. Now, with respect to this question only, before I conclude, I want you to say something to our fellow Goans and other people who are watching this interview. How are we supposed to look as a common citizen to our lakes, which are blessings which
Of
we have
course.
got?
Yes, of course. All these lakes are a big blessing, and you must try to preserve them in a very scientific way, not haphazardly getting into the lake and polluting it, but and understand the system for its significance. That's very important. There are a number of ponds and wetlands in Goa here,
Yes.
and all this should be nurtured, and all this should be maintained and scientifically
They have to
preserved,
preserve.
preserved, preserved. There are very good organizations and NGOs who help out in this activity. The Ministry of Earth Sciences, DST, CSAR, UGC, they fund number of projects to students,
Yes.
especially to the early career
Ye-
geologists or lecturers who are interested in this topic to work on them. So anything that you take should be with a focus and with your internal discipline.
Yeah.
You just cannot get there because somebody else is doing and you want to compete. That doesn't happen. Inherently, you should have a liking. You should have a passion for the topic that you
Correct.
want to work on, and you should generally generate good scientific data which you can pass on,
Yeah,
and
and to
and people
and
can
a scientific data which can be defended,
definitely
which
and over.
can be help to defend what stand we have
Yes.
towards a particular problem.
Yeah, and then this data nowadays, there are a number of climatic models. For
Yeah.
example, RGCM version
Mm.
123. Then there's AMOC, there is AMA, then there is PIMP version 123. There's GCM climate models, and if you use all these data, then you know you have reconstructed the past. You know what is the present climate, so you
You
can
can
use
predict the
you
future.
can you can use both this data, and using climate models, you can predict the future with greater degree of confidence.
Okay.
And this is
Yeah.
what is needed, because if you look up at the map on climate models and the data that have been generated, India is particularly lacking, and so is Bangladesh and
All the
Pakistan.
southeast
This South, yeah,
countries.
they are not. We don't have much data on climate modeling from this region. Now there are some people working on it, but it will still take some time to
Okay.
generate good data.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. But as we conclude, final question I would like to know from ma'am, or I want ma'am to say that many people who undertake science education end up in some traditional path of taking careers.
Okay.
Uh, would you suggest, or what would be your suggestion for our young audience to look up as a career opportunities,
Yeah, my humble request is this.
especially considering girls?
Yes, yes. My humble and sincere suggestion would be that you take earth science only if you want to continue. Otherwise, don't come in the way of others. If say for example, a girl is taking this topic, and if she's not going to continue after 3-4 years, she's stopping at a person who
Another
really
subject.
wants to come and join this
Yeah.
subject. Who's
Correct. Yeah.
passionate about it, and he or she cannot get it only because he or she has lesser mark than this. So she should not come in the way.
She cannot be the hurdle for
She
any
should not
other
be
one.
hurdle. Another thing is that there are a number of opportunities now in earth sciences. Okay, number one, people get on to environmental school. People get on to geographical school. Apart from that, there are schools in ONGC. You can get onto ONGC, many oil fields. There are good platforms coming in research centers to understand not only climate change, but any aspect of earth sciences. And then you also have university departments where competition is high, but
Yeah.
still you can make it if you are very good in the subject, you have good publication. And you have GSI, the Geological Survey of India. You also have the Survey of India. So you can get onto, there are many avenues, cement
Yeah.
factories, cement industries, rare earth element
which
organizations.
is the latest trend now.
Yeah, and Coal India. There are many places or gas authority. There are many places where you can join and dream of getting vertically up and moving and achieving your goal. And I wish it's not only the men but also the women attain their best and achieve their best in this long career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm very happy that I could spend few moments talking about this topic. It's very passionate to me, of course. Thank you.
So thank you, ma'am, for spending your valuable time with us, talking on a diverse topic related to geosciences, careers, concerns, environment, present as well as future. Hope our audience takes good responses from this talk, this interview, and hope to see you some other time or some other occasion on this platform. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, audience.
Namaste.
The voice for Goem.